I don't think I've never met. I have seen Sherrie spelled with an E and not a Y. But I've never met a Sherrie with an E.
And not a Y. So, well, my name, I'm named after my aunt. It's IE.
Okay.
And then, but I met a lot of Y's and just I's.
Okay. See, so I thought that was interesting because it's like the only Sherrie I know with an E is, Sherrie Shepherd.
Oh, yeah.
Because she spells hers with the E. So, needless to say, Sherrie, I'm really glad to have you on the show today.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, I don't know how you heard about me. I think you said Dr. Freeman.
I did. He is the reason. Well, I heard of you prior to him.
Okay.
And I thought that your interview, the style of your interview is really amazing and really great.
Thanks.
And I wanted to reach out to you, but I didn't. And he told me, he texted me, he's like, hey, I want you to interview with one of my students. And I just felt like in that moment it was confirmation.
Yep. Because I had told you on the phone, I said, Sherrie, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't want to get into all the I didn't want this to be a politics thing. And it was something about you on the phone before I met you at Dr. Bryant's event.
Because you really did not want to interview.
No, I did. It wasn't.
No, we're gonna be honest.
It wasn't that I didn't want to. It's just like, okay, the people are coming, and I don't want to turn anybody down because we always made a vow here at the show that everybody gets a seat at the table.
Okay.
But now that this politics have taken off to a level I did not expect.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I turned you down, but I was going to.
I could tell in the conversation, I was like, he kind of really doesn't want to interview me.
Yeah.
But God has a way of setting everything up.
Yeah,
So,
because it was just something about you on the phone and your no take you were not taking no for an answer because you was like, why 19th? Why then? Tell me why. That's funny. And I was like, okay. And then I met you at the Bryant's event. It was like, okay, now I see. Even if you were not running, I still would want you on the show to talk about whatever because it was just your spirit. It was something about you that I felt so connected to. You know how you meet somebody and you instantly feel like, I could definitely go with coffee for them, have dinner with them, and then feel like we can talk about whatever.
Yeah, and be comfortable.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like seeing you talk at Dr. Bryant's event. And I think what touched me the most, and we don't have to get into this if you don't want to, but what touched me the most is how open you were about the journey with you and your mom.
So I was open because prior to doing that event, I had a conversation with Dr. Bryant, and I was like, listen, is this a safe space? And I don't never get to talk about it, but she called me personally and asked me if I would be the only motherless mom on the panel. And because I've never talked about my mom and how things affected me, I felt like it was my responsibility to be able to share that because I didn't know who in the room was dealing with that type of situation. Right. And I just wanted them to know that other people are dealing with it and it's not easy.
Yeah. And I think you brought a different level to the conversation. This is airing pretty soon, so people won't get to see what we saw, but I hope they get a pinch of that in this conversation. But you did very well. I think that's what connected with me with you is just how open you were to that. And it almost felt like you were almost wanting more out of the conversation. Or you were ready, you weren't afraid for it to go deeper.
I was not afraid.
Yeah,
God had already told me in that moment, like, Sherrie, just whatever it is, just speak from your heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, you know what? I'll just do it. And prayerfully, it won't be too much.
Sure.
But it was okay.
Well, I'm letting you know right now, this is a safe place for you. And so, if the people don't know you, let's just go down a quick, like speedy quick bio.
Okay,
you are a mother.
I am.
You are a business owner.
I am.
And you are, I think I'm assuming, at least I feel you were like a community activist.
Well, an advocate.
Advocate, okay.
Advocate, yeah.
Okay, so you were in the community.
Very much so.
You were doing things in the community and it's still involved.
I
am.
And
now you're running for the community.
I am. Yeah.
Okay, and you're running for District
3.
And what district is that for the people who don't know?
So District 3 is South Columbus, essentially. So it's St. Mary's Road in South. It's Bunker Hill, Benning Hills, Willis Plaza. You go down to Fort Benning Road, Benning Drive, up Casita Road, up Brown Avenue, and some East Winton area. So it's it's fairly large.
So when you take me to the moment that you decided, okay, I think I've done enough in the business, local entrepreneur space to help my community. Now I'm going to run for city council. And then why city council? Why not mayor? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so so what I will say is, I'm still going to have my businesses.
Sure.
I'm still going to operate them. I have a residential program for girls, so I'm never going to let that go. And I named that in honor of my mom.
Yep.
I'm also a realtor, and I do a hair show called Rock and Roses. I do that every year. I think year is number 13 for me. So I'm never going to stop that. But what I will tell you is over the years of doing things in our community, not being from Columbus, knowing what Columbus could be, I've always had the desire to run for city council, but I didn't want to accept the assignment, you know, and every time, and I hate to bring God into everything, because if you remember at the panel that we did, I said that God and I did not have a great relationship with me growing up, right? I started off in the church, and then when I realized what God had done to me, we started beefing. Okay.
Right.
So we started beefing.
Which you're not the only person in history to beef with God.
I know.
Okay.
We started. So now it's like I don't really like to do things if I don't hear from him. And, you know, thinking about running for city council, I was like, you know what? I want to do it. But I was like, no. And then God was like, no, you're going to do it now. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. And ever since I made the announcement, everything has kind of flowed, you know, because I feel like I listened to God and I was obedient to him. Why I did not run for mayor? Because you know what the reality is? I know a lot of people, and they're like, Sherrie, why you didn't run for mayor? You know people everywhere. That's not what God told me to do. You know, God didn't say run for mayor. He said go for city council. So
Run for city council.
Run for city council.
Well, you know, I have done many interviews with other candidates who are running for city council, and some of those videos have done very well on Instagram. And reading some of the comments, the common thread is that people just feel unheard.
They do.
And they don't feel like what their opinion is, like they don't feel like it matters.
That's
Why
true.
do you think residents of Columbus, Georgia feel unheard?
Because they are unheard. You know, people are not listening to them. They are not meeting them where they're at. They are not trying to understand how can I make your life better. So often people are, you know, they live in their bubble, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm very successful, right? So if I lived in my bubble, right, my bubble consists of persons that are doing well in life, persons that are either retired military, that are still
Which you
serving,
are. You're military.
Which I am. Yeah,
You're retired military.
Absolutely.
The people know that you have served the country.
I have served our country.
Okay, praise the
Absolutely.
Lord. Praise the Lord.
Absolutely. So my bubble consists of a lot of persons that are excelling, right? So when I step outside of my bubble, I meet people who, you know, are having a hard time paying their rent, paying for their medication, that are having a hard time purchasing simple things like underwear and hygiene products. So that's why they feel unheard, because so often people are not stepping outside of their bubble to see what the community actually needs. And being a parent of children who are in high school, right? I meet with their friends all the time and I hang out around them. And I learn all the time that my children are definitely fortunate. Their mom was not fortunate, but they're fortunate. So I ensure that their friends, their circle, you know, have a lot of things going on too.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of things in the city of Columbus that we just have accepted as normal. Me and Dr. Bryant, who's running for mayor, we talked about this. I wonder, from what you've seen in the community, because how long have you been here?
I've been here 18 years.
18 years. I wonder what you have seen that we've kind of accepted as normal that's not normal.
What we've accepted that's normal, that's not normal, is that I can't say anything to your children. If your children are not moving in the direction that they should, or I cannot correct your children. In the world, that is not normal. We should be able to correct. On-site correction is how we're gonna prevent a lot of the crime that's going on, and we're gonna show these children that we care about them. And in order for me to show you that I care about you, I'm gonna have to do a little correcting. You know, so I think that's one of the main things for me when I think about it. I think that's what it would have to be.
Yeah, because I think that is a thing because our grandparents come from a time where your mother, the neighbors knew your mother's mother. And because they knew your mother's mother, it created a relationship for them to say something to you.
Do you understand me?
And now it's almost like we're afraid.
We are.
And which we have every right to be because these young people who are unloved, I won't say crazy because they're not crazy.
They're not.
They're just unloved. They're not being loved properly.
That is true.
They do things out of feeling and not out of discernment in a say. That makes sense.
It does.
And so it almost creates this fear where I can't say nothing because they may shoot me or they may do this, they may do
correct.
that. So it is I think it does take somebody who is going to be strong, but somebody that they trust. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we don't trust.
We don't.
Why do you think we're losing trust as a community for our leaders who say they want the best for us? But then somehow,
because they're not honest. They're not honest.
What do you mean?
What I mean by so if I say that I'm going to do something right, I have to follow through. My follow through has to be there. So if my follow through is not there, now you're not going to trust things like my word. My word doesn't mean anything because I'm not being honest.
Yeah.
So if I say that I'm going to, care for you or bring you something or whatever the case may be, I need to do that. I need to follow through or I need to communicate. So that's what I pride myself on, even with my children and like the neighborhood. I got a lot of neighborhood nieces and nephews. I pride myself on if I'm not able to do it, I'm going to tell you I can't. I had recently a young lady that was going to go to prom. And I had told her that I would help her. I would take care of her things for prom. And and the reason why it didn't happen is because she forgot to tell me when the ticket was due. So it wasn't that I didn't. So she was not upset. She did not act out or anything because she knew that if she would have given me the information or I would have gotten it,
you would have gotten it done.
It would have gotten done. So we have to teach them to communicate and be responsible so that they can get all the things that they desire per se.
Well, what do you say to people that say, well, Sherrie, I can't do this by myself. I'm a single mom, different kids. I can't teach them everything and still provide in the household as well. What do you say to families or citizens who would say that and come to combat what you're saying?
What I will say is I am a woman full of resources. I will say that. So what I would encourage everyone to do is to speak up. Like if you need help, you have to speak up because there's so often times where people are battling things that they do not have to battle on their own. Even with enrichment service, I'm just using enrichment as an example. I just recently found out that they have programs like where you can get your CDL license and stuff like that. So being able to connect those folks with the other folks, to where they can get their CDLs, they can get their CNA licenses and stuff like that, helping them because they oftentimes feel discouraged because they don't have access to resources. Yeah. So just speaking up.
Well, no, I think that's a great point. Yeah. And I'm wondering, Columbus seems to be, and this is just from my perception, Columbus.
And where are you from?
I'm from here.
Okay, so you're born here?
Born and raised here.
Oh, okay.
Born and raised here. Went to Spencer High School.
Okay,
went to CVCC, which is not in Columbus, in Phoenix City, but so Green Wave in the building.
Okay, I had a daughter graduated from Green Wave last year, and my other daughter's in Green Wave right now.
Okay, we love Spencer. Come on, Carver, eat your heart out.
Oh no, that's one of my schools too.
Okay, praise the Lord. Then praise the Lord. We ain't gonna fight. I love Carver. No, I got some great friends with Carver.
You silly.
Columbus seems to be this town that is very political. Everything is run through the powers that be. And I wonder, why does that make you laugh?
It's making me laugh because I have not gotten caught up in that.
Okay.
That's why it's making me laugh.
Okay. Well, I wonder, what do you think the leaders of Columbus avoid talking about that we should be talking about?
The reality is that there is a lot of Y'all forgive me, okay? I'm from East Oakland, California. And I just have to say, it's a lot of segregation here. It's a lot of racism here. It's a lot of separation. It's a lot of black and white here.
Really?
And I think that until we address that head on, that it's going to continue to be a big problem. It's like white people here, black people here.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's no unity.
There's no unity.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no unity.
Oh, I hate that you say that because
I'm sorry.
No, that's your experience. I have never experienced it. And that's probably because I stay in my own lane and I am not so concerned with that. But I do believe that because I have heard that. And so how do we fix that as a city? How do we fix that?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. The reality is I'm honestly not sure. Outside
I like that answer.
Because, I'm from California, and I will say it again, we're a melting pot, right? And there's a forum that I'm going to be present at tonight. It was a Latino panel forum that I'm doing. Sure. And we were talking about it, and we were kind of preparing everything for it. And I was saying that, I'm just not used to segregation. I'm used to, I remember my boyfriend growing up, his name was Anthony. His mom was Hispanic, and we, I would go to his house and we eat, and I had friends from all different races and walks of life, and we were the same, and being here, is different. The reality is, this is a reality, okay? The reality is, even in my own company, okay, I have a woman who works with me who is not black, right? She gets further than I get. And they'll have to say, hey, Sherrie, she'll have to say, well, I'm going to have Miss Sherrie call you back. When I call them back, they are shocked that I'm a black woman. And oftentimes if I'm talking to them first, they'll say, well, let me talk to Miss such and such. And I'm thinking to myself, you do know she worked for me, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. So it's, we have work to do. I'm not sure how to navigate through it right now, but we do.
Well, Sherrie, you're running for city council, so that's very bold. That's a very bold statement to make, knowing that you are running for city council. Is there pressure attached to you running because you are a black woman, and and to your words, this is a city that is very racially divided.
It is. So what I will tell you though is I am the type of person that can get along with anybody.
Yeah,
and I can work with anybody.
I believe that.
And
I believe
that. So even though we have those challenges here in the city, regardless of how you feel, if we have to work together, we're gonna work together.
I believe that. Yeah.
So
and you're not the type to. You don't seem to be the type that like allows color or income to divide how you feel about somebody.
I'm not like that. I'm absolutely not like that. And growing up, not really growing up, even as an adult, I had friends here in Columbus that would say, you need to stop dimming your light when you walk into certain rooms. And it's because I've never wanted to be, hey, it's me. I just get the work done and do what's asked or whatever the situation is.
Sure.
But I've never been like, so I struggle, when they say, go get dressed, I may not put XYZ on because I don't want to outshine the bride. You know what I mean?
Understand. Yeah. Tell me about, well, let me say this. What's your favorite car? Favorite car? Do you the car you got today? Is that your favorite car?
Well, no, it's not my favorite car.
What's your favorite car?
My favorite car. I don't have a favorite car.
Okay, well,
but I love my Mercedes AMG.
Come on.
But it's not.
Love that Mercedes. Love that Mercedes. It's nice though. It's nice.
No, it is.
I love a good GMC. Give me a GMC Denali.
Yes.
And I want the GMC with this red at. I want it to be blacked out.
Oh, okay.
I want it all. I want the peanut butter seats and everything.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm gonna get my GMC.
Oh, very nice.
Well, since you don't know your favorite car, let's ride in my GMC.
Okay, let's go.
Let's pretend that you and I are driving down the road you grew up on. And people are looking and people are like, wow, look at Sherrie. Look at that girl. The girl that made it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Tell me.
Okay.
Tell me what it was like to be little Sherrie.
So you and I talked a little bit before we started recording about me having my grandson, right? And he is currently 6 months old, and his mom is in the hospital. She got in a car accident, right?
Yeah.
I got my makeup done.
That's okay. That's why I got tissues. That's why I got tissues.
So this Mother's Day was particularly difficult for me because I had him, and he is around the age that I was when my mom died. See, my daughter's in the hospital. You know, she's going to live, right? And to watch him bounce around from lap to lap and everyone trying to help fill in the gap, because right now life is a little challenging because I have a 6-month-old baby at the house. I'm in the middle of a campaign. Right. You know, I still have to work, and
still got a company to run.
I still got a company to run, and this was also unexpected, right? So when I saw him being pantsed around and everyone stepping in and helping out, all I could think about was, this is probably how my life was growing up. Everybody just bounced me around. So, yeah. So, growing up, it was very challenging. My mom died when I was 1. Some people know, some people don't know, because I do talk about it, but I don't want sympathy.
Sure.
I just want people to know that I'm here.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
I was raised by my grandmother, who was addicted to drugs real bad. Her siblings were on drugs real bad. You know, I often joke around and say, I even know what crack smells like, because I would walk in a room, and I had one particular aunt, you know, Lord bless the dead, that she wouldn't even stop. She would keep smoking when I walked in a room. I wasn't always clean. When I say always clean, I mean I was dirty. You know, I have a first cousin. I call her my sister. She was a young woman, and she tried to help me. Like, I remember she gave me my first relaxer, and when she got a job, she used to try to keep me clean and stuff like that. So I didn't have a lot of guidance at all growing up. I really was free to kind of do whatever. I just chose not to. You know, my teachers were great in my life. They would give me extra food, and I don't know at what point things got so bad, but I remember going to move with an aunt of mine, and I still wanted to live with my grandmother because that was my grandmother. You know what I mean? But my aunt, she was like, she would get so mad at me for telling this, but it is what it is. She would be mean to me. I remember her whooping me one time and making me tell her thank you. You know? Yeah. So, yeah.
So little Sherrie was, you had to survive.
I did. I really did. I really, really did. You know, and little Sherrie was molested by a family friend. You know, little Sherrie just had it tough. But in all of that, I don't even know if I realized how bad things were. Right?
Yeah.
That's why I said it wasn't until I really, you know, started building on the relationship with God that I knew how good he, you know, it was a plan. He had a plan for my life.
Even when you didn't see it?
Even when I did not see it, you know. But I have friends who their parents were present in their life. They went on family vacations.
Yeah.
I never went anywhere, but I didn't know that was a thing for me to even, you know, you don't miss what they say, you don't miss what you don't have.
Sure.
You know, you don't miss what you don't have. So I didn't grow up traveling and all that kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, it was challenging.
Little Sherrie had a tough life.
Little Sherrie had a very tough life.
So basically what you're saying.
We grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment. My grandmother slept on the couch. She's never slept in a bed. I've never known my grandmother to sleep in a bed. But my brother and I, we shared a bedroom. We had 2 beds in the room. And 1 bathroom, just very small, probably under 1,000 square feet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Why does that make you emotional when you tell the story? Because it's been years now, and I know that you have told that story many times. I can tell. But what about it makes you still cry in a sense? Because
that's the reason why I work so hard, and I'm so. I try to be such a great parent to my kids, and I also do a lot in the community.
Sure.
when I see people, when I see there's a need. And I think the biggest issue with me running now, people know me, but they don't know me. And they don't know my why, right? So when I'm out and I'm talking to kids and they need stuff,
you are...
I'm getting it. You know, regardless of the fact.
Ooh, that makes me a little cry. Cry a little bit.
Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm doing what I can. And that's why, that's one of the main reasons why I decided to run, is because I feel like God really, right? He's really put me in some uncomfortable situations, right? And pushed me all the way through. And I just want to know if the reason why our district is not on the level of other districts, is it because of lack of people advocating, right? Yeah. That's what I have to know that. I have to know, are we lacking because, we're not being advocated for?
Yeah.
And that's the main reason I'm running. We have to see if time and effort and me advocating is going to really make a true difference over here.
I wonder where that strength came from. Because the little Sherrie, like you just shared, went through a lot. And I wonder, how were you able to tap into this strong, bold, loving, and you love loud, I can tell.
It took me a long time to get here.
Really?
When I say a long time, listen, because I grew up with like low self-esteem because we didn't have much, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up, not feeling pretty. I grew up just so many different, and I had to get to a place where I told myself, you the bomb. And I poured into my own self and I built my own self up. And, I'm very confident in who I am and I work hard. And,
I believe it.
And that's just what it is. So it didn't come from, no one built me up growing up saying, you're strong, you're powerful, you can be anything you want to be. No, they didn't do that. But I realized when I got older and God started positioning me in ways and places, and I started being the things that I never even dreamed of. I've been to so many countries. Do you understand? My kids go on so many vacations. I never imagined the life that I have right now.
Yeah.
So when it comes to city council, I'm not running for no title. I got a title. You know what I'm saying? I'm a business owner. I'm a mother, right? I have a title.
Yeah.
I'm running because Columbus is the second largest
You're a
city.
black woman.
Listen, I'm a
That's
black woman.
That's a title within itself.
Do you understand me? I'm running because Columbus is the second largest city in the state of Georgia, and we need to reflect it. Our leadership needs to reflect it. The city itself needs to reflect it.
A lot of young people in the city of Columbus say that there's nothing here. Like you hear the stories all the time. They were raised here, but then they had to move to find jobs and opportunity. What is your opinion about people who say that Columbus is not a place to make a living?
You know why I keep chuckling? I keep chuckling because, listen, I don't think I'm going to get no more realer than I'm getting today. I don't think they're going to get this version of me anymore, because God is like, let it down, let your guard down.
Yeah.
The reality is there are things to do here. I was talking to a friend of mine who does my makeup, and I was telling her.
Who's your makeup artist? Let people know.
Simone Cohen. Okay. My girl Simone.
Okay.
She's a fantastic person.
Okay.
Just real quick about her. I met her when she did one of my hair shows a few years ago. After the hair show, it was right before, she called me and said, God told me to pray for you.
Wow.
I didn't even know this woman.
Wow.
And she's been praying for me ever since. It's been years.
Wow.
It's like
wow.
Years.
Well, thank you, Simone.
Thank you, Simone.
Please, keep praying. Keep praying. Simone, put me on the prayer list too.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So,
go ahead. What were you saying?
No, there is things to do in Columbus. And I was talking to her earlier today, and I was telling her that we have over 200,000 residents here. And I may have crossed paths and actually met them before the election, right before me running, maybe 2,500. Maybe. It's so many more people here. There are things to do in Columbus that I had no clue. There are restaurants that I had no clue about. It's about us exploring, getting outside of our comfort zone and looking.
You saying we lazy?
Baby, you said it. I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say it. But not so much as lazy. Just think they're listening to everyone saying there's nothing to do here. And if you keep listening, you're gonna start believing it,
Yeah.
right? So the reality is there are things to do here, and I really love Columbus, and I'm not just saying that because I'm running for a city council.
Right.
I really love Columbus, and I chose Columbus. I chose Columbus to raise my children. I chose Columbus to expand my family. I chose Columbus. Have you been to Oakland?
I have never been to Oakland.
Okay, then you see. No, I'm joking. Then you see why I chose Columbus.
Okay. No. Well,
I'm joking.
no, I love Columbus too, and I think that that Columbus has a lot of things, but I think you touched on it a little bit a minute ago. If you look for bad, you will find it.
You will find it.
If you look for good, you will also find
You
it.
will find it.
So there is this false narrative that Columbus has no opportunity, and I don't think that's true. But I do think that Columbus needs a little bit of tough conversations to create more opportunities so that people can see them.
It has potential.
Because right now I think the opportunities that are created are kind of sheltered and kind of hidden, which is why they can't see them.
That's true.
And so people who have them, they ask the question, well, how did you get that? Well, I got this through that, but I can't tell you about this because you see what I'm saying? That makes sense?
I do understand.
Yeah, so I do think...
That's correct.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of potential here, but Joanne Kogel was here and she said it is about who you know.
It is.
It is about who you know, and it shouldn't be about who you know, but what you know.
But can I tell you something? So I believe that. I believe that like 90% of me believes that, right? But the other 10% believes that hard work and perseverance will bring you through, right? Because I'm not a part of any circle. I'm not a part of any clique.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Same here.
So the reality is, and I've been able to navigate through Columbus and become very successful.
Yeah.
So it's about, we're not going to make excuses and say, if we're not clicked up with that person, we're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
No, we are going to be successful because we're going to work hard for it and we're going to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not going to allow our beliefs or the color of our skin to determine what kind of opportunities we don't have.
Exactly.
That makes sense? Let's talk about District 3 because that's the district that you're running for.
It is.
I wonder if and when you win District 3.
Absolutely.
What is one thing that you're going to change about District 3? And when you answer that, I want you to answer what area that covers so people know when they hear that.
So this is going to cover my entire area.
Okay.
As I'm out in the community and I'm talking to people, our current, and this is no shade against him as a person.
Sure.
Okay. Because I talk to my friends a lot, and driving over here, I wanted to make it very clear that our current city council person, I don't know if he's a great husband. I don't know if he's a great father. I don't know if he's a great businessman. I don't know any of those things, but I've heard nothing but great things about him as a person. Now, when it comes to our district, all I hear is he doesn't answer the phone. So the first thing I'm gonna do initially is I'm gonna return your phone call. I'm gonna call you back. We're gonna talk about it, right?
Sure.
So for me to understand, all the needs, it's most importantly for me to communicate.
Sure.
With my neighbors.
Sure.
So that's something I can do right away. Is communicate with you, answer the phone for you, reply to your emails.
Yep.
I think my district in particular is lacking that type of communication, that type of leadership.
And because there are a lot of people that said a lot of things about District 3. And I think not only have they said that they felt ignored, but I think a lot of what they have been saying to my research and knowledge is that they just don't feel like it is top priority.
That's true.
And help me understand this. Because I think people assume that when you are in charge of a district, then you all can make decisions that immediately impact that district. But to my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when somebody is in a district and they want to make a decision to better that district, there's different channels that needs to happen before that is even decision is a yes or no. So I think that people also assume that you have all the power.
They do.
And so what can you say to ensure them that it's not about yes or no, it's about me knowing that I'm going to fight for your district. That makes sense?
It does. And I think that's the most important thing is just communication with them to let them know, hey, I am going to advocate for these things, but it does take time. So for me, it's about building relationships with department heads, right? And understanding how all the systems work so we can make progress in our district. Because the reality is this. District 3 and other districts do not look the same. So explain to me why it doesn't look the same, or why a project here is taking much longer than a project over here. You know, what's going on? And more importantly, they're okay with it taking a long time, right? They just want to know, well, what's going on? They want someone to communicate and let them know, hey, this is where we are in the process, and this is where, this is how much time we need to go to get there, right? Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to do is create some sort of social media page or some sort of system to where I can constantly give you updates. Or when we do our town halls, you'll constantly get updates and you'll kind of know more about what's going on in our district. They feel unheard, unheard.
Well, Sherrie, it's to people, it's always been like that.
That is correct.
Always been like that.
We're going to change some stuff.
Okay, well, see, we got to play devil's advocate because if it's always been like that,
it has.
The people will say, Sherrie, what makes you different from the last person who was over our district?
What makes me different is I'm not from here. I see all the great potential, and you need someone that's going to speak up and speak out, right? And actually advocate for things, because I don't know what's actually been advocated for. I live in the district. I've lived in the district for 18 years. I'm not sure what's been advocated for and what has not been advocated for. I make contact. Now, I will say this too. I've been able to call him on the phone and he's answered the phone for me. So I have not necessarily experienced what all the other neighbors have experienced, right? Because I built my own relationship with him. Now, have we gotten the speed bumps in our area that we've been, so desperately in need of? No, but I also don't know what that process looks like as far as the time or the money and where it would come from, right? Sure. But I do know there's been speed bumps put in other areas of Columbus. You know what I mean? So, and we don't know what's going on. And I hate to keep going back to communication, and I hate to keep going back to, getting the information out. And we have to, as a leader, it is your responsibility to let me know what's going on. Figure out how you're going to let me know. Figure out how you're going to get the information out. But I elected you. So I need to know you're working for me. No,
Sherrie, I think what you just said was very insightful. And I hope that the people understand that your vision, it's not about what happened, but it's about what will happen
once I'm elected.
Once you're elected.
Absolutely.
What do you think, and we probably already said this, but I want you to go a little bit deeper in it.
Okay.
What do you think most outsiders say about Columbus that's just not true? Meaning people who are not from here, they were not raised here. What are they saying? And then what is not true about what they're saying? Okay,
so one thing that I talk about often is that I'm military, right? And before I got here, they told me do not live below exit number 6.
Wow.
That's a real thing, okay?
Okay.
So I have to do sometimes what's convenient for me, right? And I just felt like it was more convenient for me to live in the St. Mary's Road area than to live up by exit number 10,
okay.
Right? It was just more convenient for me.
Right.
And I just, being a soldier and having a small baby and knowing that I got to get this child to daycare and the formation. Right. So I live below exit number 6, right? So I have not experienced a lot of crime in my area. So they blanketed as if the entire exit 6 and below is just horrible.
You're talking about Victory Drive too, right?
I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about from Macon Road all the way south.
Oh, okay.
They said do not live anywhere below exit number 6. So I did just that. And I haven't had any problems.
So what they were saying was not true.
Was not true. No, it was. So that's one of the, for me, being military, that's one of the biggest, now, not saying it's not crime over there, because obviously there's crime all over, right?
Sure.
But where I live, I don't experience a lot of it, right? So for them to say all of below exit 6 don't live there. And I'm like, there's no good areas. And like, nope, don't live nowhere below exit 6. And this came from all the way top, all the way bottom. Anyone that had spent any time here at Fort Benning is what they told me don't. And I asked people, because listen, I'm going to ask. Yeah. And I'm asking more than one person. So I think that was one of the bigger things. And then, people talk about how there's no, no economic development, So they talk about a lot of stuff, but the biggest thing was don't live below exit number 6 because I already had a job. I already had a career.
But see, that's not true. And I think that's why it's important that we have fresh leadership because you hear things that they may not hear or previous leaders haven't heard. And it's not because they didn't want to. It's probably because, again, there are systems.
And they're in their bubble.
Right. And there are systems and places, and then they're in their own little, you know what I mean? That makes sense. Well, Sherrie, let's say you don't win. Okay. We don't want to say that.
Okay.
But let's say you don't win this District 3 seat. What will you do if you don't?
Continue doing what I've been doing. Continue showing up for my children, continue advocating for the community, continue doing my Christmas giveaways and my Thanksgiving, continue feeding folks. I'll just continue. Yeah. Because for me, it's not about, because I know that people want me. Yeah. So let's talk about that. I've knocked on enough doors and I know enough people want me, but are they going to get out to the polls to vote? Are they going to call and say, hey, or get online where they have all these folks with the vehicles taking you to the polls? Are they going to say, I need a ride? Because we're calling and saying, hey, we can connect you with a number where you can call to get a ride, but are you going to follow through, right? Because people know that we need change, even in America, right? We need change. But I want to say I was reading where 69 million people did not vote in the last election. So I don't want to hear from you. I'm being honest, if you want change, you have to get out there and make change. You have to get to the polls. You have to vote. Yeah. If you want someone to advocate for you, to connect resources with you, to do things in our community that you've never seen before, you need to get to the polls. Sure. You need to vote. Sure. So prayerfully, I will win. I've done the work to win, but if I don't, it will be fine. I'll take a little break, go on vacation. Run again? I'm not sure. One thing you did not do was give me no questions before we got here. I'm like, I had never been asked that. I'm not sure because there's not a reason. If I'm laying it out on a platter, this is what you see is what you get. Yeah. These are people say don't make promises. Well, I can promise you that I'm going to call you back or respond to your email. It may not be right now today. It may not be tomorrow. Give me a couple of days. We're going to develop a system to where I can call you back. So that's a promise that I'm going to make, that I'm going to keep. I can promise you, you said we've never had town halls in our district. I can promise you that we're going to have one every quarter. Sure. So I can make these you're telling me what you need and I'm fulfilling the need. Yeah. So if I don't win, I don't know if I'll run again because I don't know what I could have done any differently. I've knocked on doors. I've made phone calls. I'm out meeting people where they are. I'm doing the work, right? Sure. And I've been in the community. So
yeah. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Yeah. I get that. Let's say there's an empty room. And in this empty room is 2 chairs. Okay. And one chair is the little Sherrie. And she is patiently waiting on the now Sherrie to come in this room and give her something of value, whether that be a hug or a word, or even lucky numbers for a scratch off that you might. What are you saying to that little Sherrie?
I don't talk about my childhood, right? I really don't talk about it. People know I didn't grow up without a mom.
Yeah.
But that's to the extent that they know. I think recently I shared with a pastor how I was like dirty and stuff. And I'm talking to you about it, but that's not something that I talk about.
Sure, right? Yeah.
But I would tell her to hold on. It will get better. Life will get better.
Yeah.
You will be okay. You will be okay. I would tell her that. Yep, I would tell her that.
Well, let me just say that I am extremely honored to meet this Sherrie, but I can't be honored to meet this Sherrie if I'm not thankful for the little Sherrie. So I hope that even if you don't win, you come back and we talk, because there's just something about you that is so bright. And I hope that no matter what happens to you, Sherrie, or where you end up, that you don't allow what you didn't get to dim your light, because you are so valuable.
Thank you.
So thank you for sitting with me today.
Absolutely. And I needed to be known loud and clear that I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I'm a strong woman.
I believe it. I believe it.
I'm a strong woman, you know. And sometimes it takes moments like this so that people, like you said, can see me.
Yeah.
But understand, I'm going to fight for you because it's in me. I've been there before, you know, and I want you to have. I remember when I opened up my first salon, I said, what good am I as a boss? We used to call it, that's when the term boss was going around, if we don't all drive Mercedes. Do you understand? So it's never been about me getting here and you down here. I'm going to bring you up with me. Do you understand?
I love that.
So I thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time. I think I still got a little more makeup on. So I think I'll be good. I think I'll be good.
No, I hope that people see this and see your heart and not what they have heard or what they will hear. Because despite your titles, you are a woman and you have this heart that just wants to see people win.
That's it.
And so I thank you for sitting with me. I'm so happy to know you now, Sherrie.
Thank you.
And bless you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you very much.
Brought to you by MSW Productions.